Business Foundations for Mums with me, Kate Butcher, is the podcast to listen to if you are a mum who is ready to launch your business, not sure where to start, or wanting to turn that sideline into something more serious. It will be full of practical tips, mindset advice, and inspirational and honest interviews with mums who are juggling business and motherhood, supporting mums in business to turn your dream into a reality. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Business Foundations for Mums. Today, I wanted to talk to you about early starts, waking up early, time to yourself, 5 a.m. club, miracle morning. There are so many different things that people call it. And I really wanted to talk to you about the benefits of that. I'm going to start straight away by caveating this by the fact that this does not work for everybody. First, it doesn't work for everybody because some people are just naturally night owls. Although that said, I used to think of myself as a night owl, and now I very much think of myself as an early bird and an early morning person. But actually, as a mum as well, there are certain times in our lives, I've heard it referred to as seasons of our lives, where it just isn't realistic. Those times when you still have babies, young children, who wake up through the night, who keep you awake, those times when you're feeling sleep deprived because of the ages of your children and the sleep patterns of your children. It is not a time when realistically you can be getting up at 5 a.m. while you're sleep deprived. If your children wake you up at 5 a.m. anyway, then you're doing it anyway, but actually you're also potentially not getting the benefits of it because you're waking up early with the children. So this really is for you if you have children who are sleeping through and are potentially not waking up as early as 5 o'clock. And actually, I'm talking about 5 o'clock here. Whatever is early for you. It might be that for you it's 6 o'clock. It might be, I've spoken to a lady recently who gets up at 4 o'clock every day. So figuring out what the time is for you that gives you that time that you need in the morning when you're in the right season for it. So I started this probably, I don't know how long ago, when my children were sleeping through, certainly. I was quite lucky, certainly with my second one, that he's always been a pretty good sleeper at the morning end of things. He sometimes struggles to go to sleep, but generally that doesn't impact on my bedtime because he's normally already asleep by then. But certainly when it comes to waking up in the morning, he doesn't like to wake up in the morning very much. He will sometimes wake up before 7 o'clock and come downstairs. But if he does, it's normally because he wants to try and get a sneaky bit of time on his tablet or something like that before anyone else wakes up. So he normally goes and hides under the dining table with a tablet and doesn't disturb me, which is great. But really, it's about waking up early so that you get some time to yourself if it's something that you can realistically do. So yeah, I think I've been getting up early probably for about 7 years. It certainly was since before, no, maybe even 8 years, since he was quite young. And I started off getting up early as a challenge. It was a challenge set within a business group I was in at the time. And the lady who was running it wanted to start getting into the habit of waking up at 5 o'clock. And she set a challenge and said, who's going to join me? Let's do it together. So it was for an accountability to start with. And I hated the thought of it, but I could see the benefits of it. And I wanted to just give it a try. And the very first time that I woke up at 5 a.m., my alarm went off and I got out of bed and I thought, why am I doing this? But I did it. And that 2 hours of time that I had before anyone else in the house woke up was possibly the most productive 2 hours that I've had in my entire life. And the first one was certainly a novelty. It still is a productive time in my day, but for very different reasons, as I will go on to explain. But at that time, it was a time when I was really struggling to keep on top of things. My children were still really small. I think I got more housework done probably that morning in that 2 hour period than I had managed in an entire fortnight or month before that, because I didn't have anyone disturbing me. I didn't have any expectations upon me. I didn't have anyone stopping me or distracting me. I just got on and did stuff. And I got so much done. It was amazing. So then I started waking up and doing work at that time in the morning. And that was, again, really productive. I was finding that I was really able to get loads of work done. I had lots of client work to do at that time. And it was really, really helpful to get up and get on and get 2 hours of work out of the way before the day had even started. And then the children would get up and the chaos would start. And now I've changed that again. And now I use it very much for my self-care time, for my self-development time, to focus on myself and to make sure that I am in the best position mentally, and in terms of my daily resilience as I can be, ready for the day ahead. The children can be very challenging at times. Anyone who knows my children knows the specific challenges that we have to face quite often. But all children have their own challenges, don't they? And particularly, there's those challenges of getting the children up and ready for school and fed and dressed and all the things that need to happen before school, and then get their shoes on and out of the house and ready to go to school in the morning. That stuff can be really frustrating. And in our house, that is, it's an hour and a half of the day. I wouldn't say wasted by any means. Of course, it's not wasted, but that is an hour and a half of time when I'm not really using my brain. And one of the key things about waking up early, one of the reasons why it's good to wake up early is because our brains are primed for productivity in the morning. Studies have shown that our cognitive functioning is better, our creativity is better first thing in the morning, our problem-solving skills are at their peak shortly after waking up. Those first 2 hours after we wake up are the times when our brain is working at its best. And I realized that by getting up, and the first couple of hours was spent getting the kids ready, all that stuff we just went through, taking them to school, getting home again, getting a cup of tea, ready to get some work done. That's 2 hours gone. And that's the best 2 hours of my brain used up for that. And that's not really what I want to use it for. So I decided more recently to start using it for my self-care. I make sure that I get some meditation done in that time. I try and get some reading done. I also use it as a time to do some exercise. And for me, first thing in the morning is the time when my body is most up for it, and also when I'm mentally most up for it, when I'm least likely to procrastinate over doing the exercise that I need to do. And absolutely essential for me, that has been an essential, I was going to say from day one, but that's not strictly true because we didn't have a dishwasher at the time when I started this. But since we've had a dishwasher, an absolutely essential part of waking up in the morning and using that time before the children wake up is to empty the dishwasher. The dishwasher goes on when I go to bed, and I empty it first thing in the morning because we've got a really tiny kitchen. And for me, if there is space in the dishwasher, it means that once the kids have breakfast, once there's things used to prepare any breakfast, they can go straight into the dishwasher because it doesn't need emptying. And that saves the kitchen from getting cluttered and the kitchen sideboards from starting to stack up with stuff that will just occupy my brain space if it's starting to get really cluttered in there. And if we don't have an empty dishwasher to put things into, then it does very, very quickly. The sideboards fill up and there's just nowhere to put anything or to do anything. So that is an essential for me. Emptying the dishwasher is very much part of my early mornings. It is about having some time to myself. It is about using my brain. I also use the opportunity of that time in the morning to plan for my day, to look at what I'm going to do for the rest of the day, to prepare, to make a list of the things that I really want to get through, to maybe even visualize sometimes my day ahead. If I've got a big event on, or if I've got something going on, I will sometimes spend some time doing a visualization about that event and about how well it's going to go. So that can often be a really good thing to focus on first thing in the morning. So waking up early, it's a habit that many, many successful people swear by, and for a very good reason. It does mean that you get time to yourself. As a mum, how often do you get time to yourself when it's really quiet? I mean, I've got a noisy dog here. He quite often interrupts me when I'm doing lives or when I'm on calls with people. He does quite often interrupt the podcast as well, but you don't normally get to hear that because it gets edited out. But I have a very noisy dog, and even he at that time in the morning knows that that is quiet time. He comes and he lies down and he chills out, and it's just really peaceful and really, really lovely. In the summer, it's also fantastic to get out into the fresh air. In the summer, when it's light and you can go out for a run or a walk in the fresh air, watching the sunrise can be absolutely lovely. It can be such an enjoyable thing to do. And again, really peaceful when there's nobody about, there's no vehicles around. It's just really quiet and calm. And it really can help you to reset so that you feel ready for the day ahead. There is a lot of hustle and bustle in our daily lives. So finding time to ourselves, it really can feel like a luxury a lot of the time. So carving out that little bit of time for yourself first thing in the morning, it can allow you to focus on your personal growth. It can allow you to focus on your well-being, and you don't have those distractions. As I mentioned, it can be a really good opportunity to look at what the day ahead holds. So taking a few moments each morning, reflecting on your goals, reflecting on your priorities for that day, and looking at all of that stuff with a bit of clarity and purpose. It could be writing it down in a to-do list. It could be mindfulness. But starting your day with intentionality can really significantly impact your productivity for the day, and it can really help your overall well-being. So if you've ever considered becoming an early riser, now might be the perfect time to give it a try. Embrace the benefits of waking up early. You get the time to yourself. You have your enhanced brain function, intentional planning, self-care. You not only transform your mornings, but you're also transforming your entire outlook on life. And if you need a bit of help to do it, first of all, there's a couple of books that I think can be really helpful. I've read both of them. One of them is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Really, really good book. And the other is a book called The 5 a.m. Club, which I am reading again for the fifth time, or I should say I'm listening to the audio version for the fifth time. I absolutely love The 5 a.m. Club. It's such a good book. And I learn something different every single time I listen to it. I hear something different. I'm ready for something different every time I listen to it. And I keep just getting drawn back into it. And it is such a good read. It's such a good book. It did throw me a little bit when I first started reading it. It was recommended to me and I thought I'd got the wrong book because it started telling a story. And I thought, this can't be right. I'm not trying to read a story here. I'm trying to listen to a book about getting up early in the morning. But quite quickly realized that it is told through a story. And it's full of wisdom. Whether you're interested in 5 a.m. starts or not, it is a book full of wisdom about intentionality in life, about focus, about clarity, about all of those different things, and about making the best life for yourself. So it's a really good book and one I highly, highly recommend. The other thing I will be doing, if you're listening to this very soon after it has gone out, keep an eye on my Facebook profile, my Instagram profile, because I will be running a 5 a.m. start challenge sometime soon. I need to think up a better name for it than that because that doesn't sound very good, does it? But we will be doing a challenge. So anyone who's interested in 5 a.m. starts, who wants to think about getting up earlier, really making the best of their morning, we will be running a challenge so that at 5 a.m., I'm not quite sure of how it's going to work yet, but keep your eyes open because there will be something coming up, which will be an opportunity for 5 a.m. starts, like some kind of accountability. And we'll see how that goes. 5 a.m.s to me, honestly, it's been life-changing. And I would recommend it to anyone to at least give it a go and see if it works for you and see if it makes a difference to the way that you run your life and that you focus, because it has been wonderful. Have a fantastic week and listen out next week where we have another interview with yet another inspiring mum in business. Speak to you soon. Thank you for joining us here at Business Foundations for Mums. You can find all of our episodes, show notes and blog posts at businessfoundationsformums.co.uk, and you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook.